this video we're going to be looking at the 3 Ds of dog training. These are things that make your behaviours more reliable in the real world. So what are the 3 Ds of dog training? Well, there's distance, adding distance to a behaviour. There's distraction, so the ability to perform the behaviour around distractions. And there's duration, being able to perform the behaviour for some time. Now, when I'm training behaviours, let's take for example down, I like to build a little bit of duration on it first, just a short amount, because without a bit of duration you can't do any of the other things. So I always add a little bit of duration first, and then I'll move on to distraction. Now I'm going to insert a clip here of one of my dogs performing a down with a little bit of duration so you can see what I mean. Now, when you start to add distraction, it's really important, A, that you've got a bit of duration established and that the dog knows the behaviour, but B, that you don't add too much too soon. So you might start off with a bit of movement. Again, I'm going to insert a clip for you. You might start off with holding a toy, but you would be building that up and progressing it at a level the dog can cope with. Now that, again, like I've said before, the dog will always offer you feedback. If you've pushed it too far, the dog's going to move. Take that as feedback, but don't reward it. Just make it a bit simpler for the dog. Now, the final one is distance. And this one's harder, so it's actually, you need a bit of duration in order to get distance. And it is distracting to move away, or for the dog to be further away. So that's why I like to establish those 2 Ds first. When you're asking for behaviour at a distance, it needs to be pretty solid. I'm going to pop a clip in here of Aria doing some positions at a distance. Now obviously this did not happen overnight. I built it in, and I am going to be sharing more stuff via the Patreon account of how you can build these behaviours in and make them rock solid. The other thing to think about is when you're training your dog, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but they can become really good at behaviours in one certain place, and then you ask for it somewhere else and it's like they've never done it before. I see it a lot in the training centre. They'll do sit at home perfectly, and that's maybe because you haven't generalised the behaviour. So with training, don't just do it at home, don't just do it at the training centre. You need to progress it and generalise it to other areas, starting at a level of distraction that your dog can cope with, but ultimately working to outdoors. Now, can you go from doing a sit indoors to doing a sit in the park around other dogs? Probably not, because you haven't trained to that level yet. But will you be able to in the future if you gradually increase your 3 Ds? Yeah, I would hope so, absolutely. So listen to your dog, and like I said, the dog will always offer you some feedback. A note on training outside is something we often miss. Every moment spent with your dog is a training opportunity, and I don't mean by that you need to be hammering their training, but you could do a bit of something while you're out on a walk. You could do a bit of something while they're on the field. You can play, play in itself you can use as training. So if you want to make your behaviours with your dog really strong so that they work, say for example a recall away from a squirrel, then you need to train to that level. And if at all your dog isn't performing the behaviour, that identifies a training need for you. Alright, hope that helps. Bye bye.